Ruben Amorim is bringing the fight back to Manchester United. Marcus Rashford wants his future deciding this week. Napoli have made contact for Alejandro Garnacho. Credibility around Casemiro's exit, and Malacia also linked with a possible January exit. All this coming up in today's video as we run through all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news that will keep you right up to date with everything. Welcome to Man United Review. My name's Jamie. Before we get into it, smash a like on the video and let's jump straight into it. So how are we feeling? Let me know in the comments. How are you feeling about the result and the performance yesterday? I liked it. It wasn't in terms of spectacle, in terms of like fantastic football wasn't there, but it was everything that we've been missing from Manchester United for absolutely ages, which is some fight, some determination, teamwork, effort. All of that stuff was on display, and credit to the players. And credit to Ruben Amorim as well, because that's the one thing, I've said it before, and I know some of you have said it in comments in previous videos as well, is that for far too long these players just don't look like they care, or they don't look like they're giving enough on the pitch, and that kind of fight that is needed at a professional club. Sometimes you can't play pretty football, but you've got to stay in the race, and I absolutely loved that from yesterday as well. But get in the comments below how you're feeling. What were your thoughts on the kind of game? So let's go through a bit of a recap. So firstly, Ruben Amorim is the first Manchester United manager to beat Arsenal at the Emirates since Solskjaer in January 2019. That's terrible. And he was also the first time that we scored a goal at Anfield since 2018 as well. So, small baby steps, but, and records are there to be broken, aren't they, as well? But that just shows how bad we have been away from home in recent history. And that's what I was saying. That was the one thing I kind of picked away. The fight, the determination, the work rate was all there yesterday. Yes, the football wasn't fantastic, but sometimes you've got to start from somewhere, and that's the foundation to build from. Ruben Amorim himself kind of said that a similar thing, saying they thought sometimes what we talk about before the game is not tactics or technique. It's about that. We deserve to win. Arsenal didn't deserve to lose, but we deserve to win. The way we played, the way we fought, we didn't have the ball much, but we had control without having it, and I kind of agree. Yes, Arsenal had a few chances, especially when we were down to 10 men, and the referee was absolutely shocking as well, giving literally everything to Arsenal and nothing for ourselves. But, that determination and that kind of effort was there in abundance, and that's kind of the baseline, which is sad that we're saying it, but the reality is this team haven't been doing that for years. So I love that from Amorim. But yeah, let me know what you think about that in the comments. He also said that's the basic of everything. The rest will follow. But that connection, that fighting spirit today, we gave everything and we did everything to win this match. And I kind of agree as well. He said, I believe in them. I want to push them. Sometimes they don't like it because they're not used to it, but I'll keep going. If they play like that, I'll always defend them. And that was one of his kind of comments when he first came in, wasn't it? It was said, look, if the players give effort and they give their all, I'll defend them. If they don't, then he won't. And there's players in the squad still, which we're going to mention later on, that are clearly not putting in the effort and not kind of doing that as well. But and for those who didn't know, unless you've seen it already, next draw in the FA Cup, Leicester City, the return of Ruud van Nistelrooy, which will be nice. And Amorim had the following to say on that: Leicester in the next round. I'm going to meet Ruud van Nistelrooy for the first time. I'm going to give him a hug. He's a classy guy. We want to win, and we want to win this competition. So that's a nice kind of touch from Amorim, because obviously Van Nistelrooy did steady the ship a little bit before he came in. So that's a nice kind of thing from Amorim as well. Let's go through the other kind of comments, though, from the game. So Bruno Fernandes said, you want to be in these kind of games. You want to be involved. You want to be the best. So you want to be the best, but we have to do it in Old Trafford in these with these fans. Again, we have to give it back for the club. We need to do it every week in every game. And that's the kind of key, isn't it? The Southampton game is the massive kind of tell, because we know history will confirm that we can perform for certain games against the bigger clubs and pull out kind of results. But when it comes to playing the teams at Old Trafford, that we should technically be beating on paper is where the players have always left themselves down. That consistency has always evaporated from the team when it comes to playing certain sides. So that's going to be the big time kind of tell the Southampton game is, can we put in that work rate and that effort and that kind of team effort against Southampton? That'll be the kind of key. Maguire, who I thought was absolutely outstanding yesterday as well, apparently was ill and spent the last 2 days in bed before the game against Arsenal, but he really wanted to play. And that's a massive kind of, and big ups to Harry Maguire. Absolutely outstanding performance yesterday as well. He made more clearances, 11, and blocks 5 than any other player on the pitch today that came from Statman Dave. So massive shout out to Harry Maguire. I thought he was absolutely outstanding in defense, really, really good performance from Maguire. Shout out to Bayindir as well. Literally, once he saved that penalty, he kind of it's like he got possessed by De Gea afterwards, where it just felt like nothing was going to go past him. He was a little bit shaky, I felt in the first half, specifically with his distribution, but it just shows that confidence is key. So massive shout out to Bayindir, obviously one man of the match, rightly so as well, 2 penalty saves. And, like I said, he made some other outstanding saves as well in that second half and kind of kept us in it. But the kind of important quote I felt from him was when he's asked around specifically Ruben Amorim, he said, "We love him." So Amorim's already in that short space of time that he's come in, I think, building that kind of, because he's renowned for that at Sporting. Like, look at how all the Sporting players reacted when he left. And I think he's starting to kind of build that up behind the scenes with the team and with the squad. And that's only going to get better and stronger, that kind of bond and relationship between manager and player. And that's what we're kind of seeing on the pitch. Everyone willing to fight for each other and leave it all out on the pitch. And that all comes from the manager as well. And the fact that Bayindir's kind of saying, look, we love him. Is a big compliment, I think, for Ruben Amorim. Shout out again or another shout out to Joshua Zirkzee to score the winning penalty. Felt like a bit of redemption for him coming off and getting booed. I don't necessarily think the booing was directed at him personally. I think anyone coming off in that moment would have got booed. And as I mentioned at the time, you could have subbed any player off at that particular moment against Newcastle because they were all terrible. And I just think positionally, it had to be Zirkzee because we needed to bring Mainu on into the midfield. But yeah, massive. Hopefully that can kind of give him a big boost for his confidence. And he actually put in a decent performance when he came on as well. Do you know what I mean? I actually thought Zirkzee was really good when he came on in the second half. And hopefully that can start kind of building his confidence because he does seem like a confidence player. But shout out to Joshua Zirkzee for scoring the winning penalty. And another shout out to Lit. What an absolute warrior. I still do not know how he made that block. I have no idea. Absolutely outstanding. I thought De Ligt was really good as well. And so was Toby Collier when he came on. Now, the big tell from that was really interesting that he brought Toby Collier on because we've seen nothing of him for months, really. I know he got injured, but even when Amorim came in, he's been back for a couple of weeks, whether they've just been building his fitness up or not. But I thought it was really interesting that he chose to bring on Collier ahead of Casemiro specifically because obviously the reports are Casemiro potentially might be going in January. Is that a tell? Is that a sign? Or was it just the fact that Toby Collier put himself about absolutely brilliantly and he didn't want to have any weakness because Toby Collier absolutely put himself about. There's the clip, I don't know if you've seen it, doing the rounds where we won the free kick in the 90th minute. And it was the one where Bruno floated towards the kind of back of the penalty area that Harry Maguire headed across. Raya caxed it. But if you watch, it's Toby Collier, De Ligt, in fact, all the players head down, turning round, absolutely sprinting back to not concede. And it was Toby Collier and De Ligt who were pretty much on the penalty spot when Harry Maguire headed the ball, were the ones that were on the edge of the area to not make the block. I think Mazraoui ended up making the block, but De Ligt was right behind Mazraoui and Toby Collier got it away as well. And it's that sort of effort, I think, that was outstanding, I thought, from Toby Collier when he came on. But let me know what you think about those in the comments. Now, just mention him there. Really kind of interesting that Casemiro never came onto the pitch. Now, Laurie Whitwell, very credible source when it comes to United News, had the following to say. So he said, there is credible talk about Casemiro departing the club. So Jim highlighted the Casemiro signing as one he viewed as wrong due to age and expense. And then he also said that in the summer, Toby Collier was the one who had the best chance of breaking through. And he did also mention, I'm throwing this in there, this is more linked with yesterday's video when we were talking about Rashford and AC Milan. He also confirmed that if Kyle Walker goes to AC Milan, that would end any potential move for Rashford to AC Milan as well. Now, Laurie Whitwell was one of the most credible journalists specifically when it comes to United news. But interestingly, he said there is credible talk about Casemiro departing the club. Sam C, who's also a credible source, said a move for Casemiro to Saudi Arabia this month is still on. Talks will continue this week. So that's one to kind of keep an eye on in terms of transfer news, because we're in a position where we have to sell to buy the main players that are linked with exits. Casemiro to the Saudi Pro League, that's got credibility behind it. Obviously, Rashford, that might be a loan. We don't know the full kind of details. I think that's got some credibility behind it as well. And then they might look to move on a few other players, but it depends on offers. But they're ones to kind of keep an eye on this week. And going back to the game, I kind of felt it was interesting that Casemiro didn't come on. But let me know what you think about that in the comments. Now, another player who I thought had a decent game yesterday, Garnacho, not heavily, but linked a little bit over that, well, definitely yesterday, with a move to Napoli as potentially Napoli's preference for a Kvaratskhelia replacement. Now, this has came from Spanish outlet who actually fairly decent, saying that Alejandro Garnacho is Napoli's top target to replace Kvaratskhelia. Contacts have started. Manchester United value Garnacho at 70 million euros, but Napoli hope to lower the price. And then Corriere dello Sport, decent Italian outlet, has also said that Napoli have made contact with Manchester United for Garnacho. United's starting value is between 60 to 65 million pounds. So another couple of outlets again kind of suggesting that Napoli might be interested in Garnacho as a potential replacement for Kvaratskhelia when and if he moves to PSG, because that's the kind of rumours doing the rounds. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. I just think we'd be leaving ourselves massively light up front if you're going to, be moving Rashford, Anthony. There's rumours that he might be departing, although it's difficult to remove Anthony because there's just not that much interest in him with his wages and obviously his form. And Garnacho, going to have to bring in a forward, and there's not that many heavily linked forwards. Muani is one that's probably in linked, but is he the answer to replacing Rashford and Garnacho? I'm not so sure, but we'll keep an eye on it for you. Who knows, though? Ineos could be... Someone's mentioned this in the comments, and my brother-in-law mentioned this actually today as well. He said, well, who knows what Ineos are doing, because a lot of the signings we have made have come out of the blue, where we've not been linked with them, and then all of a sudden you get a link, and they're not players that we've been heavily linked with. So Ineos might be doing, or probably are doing, stuff like that, where we might be looking at alternatives to bring in, but there's not that many links, and it could just come out of the absolute blue regarding that. But I think it would leave us light up front, removing Rashford and Garnacho in January. We definitely need to bring in a replacement, and if we got time to do all of that, who knows? But I'll bring you any updates when they come out, if anything develops on that. Let's go through the other transfer news then. So contact is expected between AC Milan and Manchester United for Marcus Rashford in the next few hours. That came from Damasio, who are fairly decent. He was the Fabrizio Romano until Fabrizio Romano overtook him, so he can be credible, but a little bit more hit and miss at the moment, I would say. Marcus Rashford would like his future decided within 2 to 3 days. That came from another Italian outlet who have been, fairly reliable actually regarding the Rashford links with the Italian clubs over the last few days. Sky Sports said AC Milan are expected to formally approach Manchester United over Marcus Rashford. All dealings thus far have been done through intermediaries, so we know his agent has been doing the rounds, speaking to clubs, looking at interest, contracts, all of that kind of stuff. But according to those reports, could potentially be some movement on that. Hopefully this week. And then the Telegraph have also kind of thrown West Ham's name back in the mix again, saying West Ham have recently held informal talks to assess whether a pursuit of Marcus Rashford is a realistic one. They would be keen on a loan move. Been some reports as well at the time of recording this video. I've not done a slide for suggesting Tottenham as well may be interested. So I need to keep an eye on that one. But it does look like there might be, a bit more of a you know, bit more noise going on around Rashford and potentially Casemiro over the next few days and weeks. So I'll keep an eye on it for you. Let me know though what you think in the comments. Now, another player that's been linked with an exit is Malacia. So Tyrone Malacia could leave Manchester United now in case of a good proposal, even on an initial loan with a buy clause. He is not a target for Como though. Now that came from Fabrizio Romano. So if you remember a couple of days ago, there was talks about Como potentially going in for Malacia. According to Romano, not Como, but not ruling out potentially Malacia going out as well, which would be massively interesting because obviously Dalot got his red card. He's going to be suspended for the Southampton game. We're light at left back anyway. You know, if we don't bring in a left back and you let Malacia go, like, that's just insanity, in my opinion. But who knows? I mean, that might be seen as the gateway to potentially bringing in a left back, possibly, because, you know, it's all about creating the space in the squad as well as it is the finances. So, you know, we'll keep an eye on that one. Juventus were linked with a loan move for him recently, if I remember rightly, as well. So that's potentially one that could materialise in this transfer window. But again, that would leave us massively light at left wing back in a position that we probably need to strengthen this month anyway. So yeah, let me know what you think about that in the comments. Now, another player that is coming in, not for the summer, but we are kind of on doing his deal and signature and everything at the moment, is Diego Leon. Is set to undergo his Manchester United medical at Carrington today. That came from the Manchester Evening News. There's been a couple of photos, I think, of him at Carrington, but they were terrible, like blurred and stuff, so I'm not putting them on the screen, but there's been a photo of him at Carrington leaked online. So, you know, medical today. Hopefully then he's going to, you know, be showed around and stay for a couple of days, it's believed, and then before going back and joining up with Paraguay. But yeah, I'll bring you the announcements on that one as well. So that one is one that's ongoing at the moment. Now, another player that's linked with a exit, Antony. So Real Betis and Olympiacos have both made inquiries to Manchester United for Antony. That came from Sky Sports. Gone a little bit quiet on the Real Betis and the Antony exit news, and just purely because there's clearly not that much interest in him because of his wages and obviously his form recently. I think the best we could look for Antony is some kind of loan. If we could get a loan with an option to buy, that would probably be advantageous to do that. An obligation to buy would obviously be even better. But the reality is he's not been in good form. He's not, you know, he's on 200 grand a week. He's not a player that, you know, multiple teams are going to come banging on the door to come and get if he's available. Like Rashford, for example, has got a plethora of clubs around the world to choose from. Dortmund, Milan, Juventus, Barcelona are linked with him. Tottenham, West Ham, we've just mentioned as well. Like, there's loads of clubs potentially lining up to try and get hold of Rashford. But Antony have got Celta Vigo and Olympiacos, and neither of those are going to be sales neither. It's going to be probably a straight loan where we're going to have to pay a lot of his money, but that's probably all we can realistically ask for. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. And then the final story we're going to go through is regarding Kobbie Mainoo. So Manchester United will now try to push to extend Kobbie Mainoo's contract. That came from Fabrizio Romano. This was yesterday after obviously we've heard the news around Ahmed's contract being signed and done. Sam C said Manchester United always plan to move on to Kobbie Mainoo's contract situation after Ahmed, as reported. The Sun have come out saying that Kobbie Mainoo is expecting a new contract worth £200,000 per week. Man United are believed to be reluctant to go that high, which has led to reports that Mainoo could leave the club. Chelsea and Bayern are interested. That came from the Sun. I would say take that one with a pinch of salt, but it's not the first time that we've heard, you know, he wants about £200,000 a week, or not him, but his agent is trying to get him £200,000 a week, which is unrealistic, and he's also not going to do that. I think Ahmed, his actual official figures haven't been leaked yet, but the reports are anywhere around £100,000 a week. Some a little bit higher, some a little bit, but around that sort of figure is probably, and as I mentioned before, that might be the benchmark for what they're going to kind of do for their contracts for some of the young players going forward. So you know, that makes sense. If Mainoo's asking for 200 and we do a deal around 100, that's kind of makes a little bit of sense around those. But important thing is, new contract is now, you know, in terms of contracts, the next player they're going to be looking to get tied down would be Kobbie Mainoo. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. Let me know what you think about all the other topics discussed in today's video, because that's you all up to date with the latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Don't forget to smash a like on the video on your way out and subscribe to the channel if you are new. See you in the next one.